US ADP Employment Change July Preview. Following the high-frequency data analysis, http://nTV4x.com News ID FAE1F584 2022 49:31 AM. ADP payrolls are the lead for the governmentâ's non-farm employment report. Hiring expected to slow substantially in July to 1.5 million. Manufacturing Employment Index trailed overall sector improvement. Market concern that the recovery in employment is stalling has weakened the dollar. Hiring at American companies in July is forecast to slow as firms scale back plans as they wait for the economic impact of the second wave of the COVID cases in several large U.S. states. Private payrolls from automatic data processing ADP are forecast to have gained 1.5 million workers last month, down from the 2.369 million increase in June and 3.065 million in May. NBSP All told, U.S. companies serviced by ADP have recouped 28% of April's record 19.409 million lost jobs. ADP payrolls.NTV4x NBSP employment indicators. Initial claims and PMI improvement in initial jobless claims stalled in the first week of July at 1.310 million after 18 weeks of reductions. The following week claims fell marginally to 1.307 million, and in the subsequent 2 weeks they rose to a one-month high of 1.434 million. NBSP The July 31st number due on Thursday is forecast to be 1.4 million. NBSP If accurate, that would mean that the rate of weekly layoffs has held constant for 6 weeks and that an additional 6.881 million people have lost their jobs since the beginning of July. Initial jobless claims.NTV4x NBSP Likewise, the recovery in the Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Employment Index PMI has not kept pace with the rest of the sector. NBSP The rise in the overall index from its April low of 41.5 to 54.2 in July has been faster and stronger than expected. NBSP sentiment and activity are now firmly above the 50 division between expansion and contraction. The improvement in new orders from 27.5 in April, an all-time low, to 61.5 in July has been the fastest rise in the series history. Employment NBSP, however, at 44.3 in July remained below 50 and in contraction NBSP where it has been for 12 months. Manufacturing Employment PMI NTV4x It may be that the longer lead times in manufacturing and the normal hiring caution is responsible for the reluctance, or it may be that managers are waiting to see the outcome of the second wave of the virus before adding personnel. ADP and NFP Some 500,000 U.S. companies are ADP's clients, and their payrolls closely represent the private sector portion of the Employment Situation Report from the Labor Department, commonly known as non-farm payrolls for its most cited statistic. NBSP national employment figures include 2 categories not covered in ADP's private report: government workers at federal, state and local levels, and the number of new jobs created each month but not yet reported to authorities, estimated by the so-called birth-death model of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Markets and conclusion: the second wave of COVID cases, while producing far less illness, hospitalizations, and fatalities than the first, has forced a number of states to suspend reopening plans and in some to reintroduce partial business closures. These limitations have instilled a slowdown in some high-frequency data, restaurant visits, and travel for instance, from the rapidly expanding rates earlier in June, and have stalled initial claims at 1.37 million. NBSP This data has convinced economists that hiring slowed substantially in July. NBSP That expected decline in returning employment and the potential Fed rate response were one of the chief reasons behind the 3-week swoon in the US dollar. If ADP is as expected or worse, the dollar's weakness will be reinstated. If the anticipated slowdown in hiring does not occur, short dollar positions will suddenly be a good deal less valuable. NBSP. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors.